I first just want to thank you for being teachers. All of you think back, how did you end up a teacher? But it is one of the most wonderful jobs in the world, but one of the most difficult. And no one else understands except other teachers. It's exhausting. You're on stage all day. And I literally want you to stand up and give yourselves a standing ovation, because I really, really think you deserve it. And yes, just pat yourselves on the back. This is, as I said, one of the most difficult jobs. Okay, now what I want you to do is take out a piece of paper, and then I want you to write up in the left-hand corner, put a flower, put in the right, a sun. In the lower left-hand corner, I want you to draw a star. In the bottom right-hand corner, draw a moon. Then I want, okay, how many are doing it? Are you, I'm looking, I don't see anyone following directions. Is anyone, you're not even prepared. I can't believe what, okay, let's just stop. Okay. What just happened? What just happened? I began by thanking, no one has to do anything. Don't take out the paper. Let me tell you what just happened. Okay, are you all with me? Raise your hand if you're with me, because I'm having trouble seeing everyone. Okay, you're all with me. Okay. What just happened to our little classroom environment? I'm the teacher. You're the students. How did you feel when I complimented you? How many, raise your hand, how many felt really good? Makes you feel good to be complimented. You're doing something worthwhile. And I meant it. I absolutely meant it. When I gave you too much information too fast, and I blamed you for not following directions, how many of you suddenly got confused? You got anxious. You didn't know what to do. And then I started blaming people, saying you're not even prepared. How many felt a difference of when I was thanking you at the beginning? And just raise your hands. How many felt? You see what happens. I'm the teacher. You're the teacher. You're here for a SEL program, social emotional learning. Social emotional learning is critical. Kids, for students to reach their academic potential, students need to be in an environment that actively promotes emotional and social well-being. But there's two parts to that. There's the SEL program, which I'm going to go over now, and the class environment. I begin my lectures usually by doing this, and I go much faster. And I go, and the people, I sometimes have 300 people in front of me, and I keep going because I'll have 2 hours or 3 hours, but we only have an hour, and I don't want to spend more time. Look what happened when I complimented you. You were with me. I could have said anything to you at that point and told you to do that. You know, I'm your ally. I'm with you. The minute I started getting annoyed with you, you weren't prepared. You weren't listening. I was saying, oh, you're talking to each other. No one's even listening to what I'm saying. The whole class environment changes. I can't tell you how many children, I mentioned last time, I do private practice, and I've been here 40 years. How many kids, especially, well, it could be any age, and they'll come in and they'll say to me, the teacher hates me. And I always say to them, really, did they tell you that? And they go, what? I said, teacher told you they hate you. No, I just know it. Okay, and I say, how do you know? Maybe you think, oh no. You know what they said to me one day? And they'll come up with something. And this kid, one time he was in 5th grade, and I said to him, your teacher just did that? No, in 1st grade he did that. And never leaves. They're scarred. So the environment, I can't stress it enough. I created a program. I'm selling the program. I did research on SEL programs years and years ago. They don't make that much of a difference. It's that teacher in that classroom that's going to create that environment that's there all day long. So let me go to the next one. As the teacher, you need to create an environment conducive to learning. And then I'm going to talk about SEL. There are 3 basic steps. That's all it is, because teachers have come up to me and said, I happen to agree, but what do I do? Okay. Step one, the importance of the teacher. I used to have a professor back in the 1960s, and she used to say, it's what's up front that counts. Back in the 60s on television, there was one cigarette commercial after another. And one of them always said, it's what's up front that counts. Something, I think it was Lucky Strike or something. And I remember that professor used to say over and over again, well, you're the teacher. You're the one up front. Let's just go through the bullets because this is worth doing. Teachers are among their students' most important, significant others, coming in third behind mom and dad. Okay, what's a significant other? That's someone else in your life, and you listen to what they say to you, and it's your perception of how they treat you. At your stage, it's mom. It begins universally, it's always mom. Then it's dad. Then it's the teachers. Okay? And so think back now, you're adults. So it could be your spouse. It could be a boyfriend, a girlfriend, somebody that you're with. It could be the boss. How do you perceive someone that's working with you perceives you, people that you work with? You can walk into a room and you can feel like God because you perceive everyone in that room adores you. Someone just walked in, you all sang happy birthday. You're with them. They're part of your group. It makes you feel good. Okay, so the perception is, gee, they're really nice. They must like me. But you can walk into a room, right now, I can, you can, where you think everybody's wearing black shoes and you're wearing brown. It's like, oh my God, I don't even want to be here. And your perception, you become very uncomfortable. The child in the classroom, picture yourselves, picture different teachers. And if they feel that person doesn't like them, or it's that teacher, I'm going to do a little more to talk about what to do. The child will never forget it. It's during a time when identity develops. And identity is usually between 6, 7, 8. And then that feeling always stays with you. Bullet 2, what teachers say and do affects how students feel about themselves. I've had kids say to me, oh yeah, but he was talking to another teacher. And I remember they both were raising their eyebrows. I know they're talking about me. I've had all these things said to me. Bullet 3, when students perceive their teachers like them, they'll work for those teachers and do well, and vice versa. If they think you don't like them, they're not going to do anything. They're going to sit there. I can't tell you how many kids I've worked with privately who go, I'm not handing anything in to her. Too bad. I said, yeah, but it's your grade. She went through school already. But it's a child. And this controls how they behave. The mutual respect in the classroom. I always tell this story. It's an old fable about a king who's walking down the street with his 2 children, 2 sons, and it starts to rain. So the king puts an umbrella over each one's head, and everyone stops the king and says, but you're the king. They should be putting an umbrella over your head. And he says, well, how will they ever learn that? If I don't, I'm the role model. How are they going to know that what true respect is if I don't respect them? It's a fabulous little story, but it's true. Children who are not respected are not going to respect the parents. They may fear them, but it's not respect. And it's the same for the teacher. What teachers say and do matters. Thank you. That's a great idea. And this could be someone who gets every single thing wrong, the poor kid, but they come up with one thing. Be there to say, you know what? That was a great idea. That was a good try. I love that you tried. I'm proud to be your teacher. Instead of always saying, I'm proud of you, I'm proud to be your teacher. And they go, why? The kids are just precious and they're so honest. And I go, but you know what? Because you always figure out what to do and you always come through. something. I always knew you could do it. That's great. How did you do that? And I have to tell you, they always go, I don't know. Okay, but they're going to think about it, that you said that to them. Your choice of words is perfect. They can take and write a paper that can be horrible. But you say, you know what, we have to work a little on the structure, but your choice of words were great. I love the topic you chose. How did you think of that name? I admire you for that. What a great idea. I mean, this list goes on and on and on. And it's not being false, but when you're teaching academics. That's cognitive. But you will not help those kids become and reach their potential academically if they don't feel safe and feel good with you as their teacher, emotionally and socially. I want each one of you to think about this, and I do this with all teachers. Did a teacher ever compliment you? Think back to nursery school and right through college. Was a teacher ever sarcastic? Did a teacher ever insult you or ever embarrass you? No matter who I ever say this to, always they have a story. Always. And it could be the brightest child. It could be the child who's struggling. It could be anyone. Every single person. Now, why did they not remember everything else in school? Because you think back to school, it's kind of a blur. But those things never leave. So to begin this whole program on social and emotional learning, number one, that class environment, and the person who creates it is you. Now, step two, teachers need to know and understand the stage of development according to Piaget that the students they have are actually presently in. How many, just do me a favor, I may have asked you last time, how many know Piaget, have known, not that know them, I mean learn, that you had courses in school? Oh my goodness, I don't think anyone. He was a psychologist in the early 1900s, and he worked with individual children, and he put together stages of development. And now with MRIs, it's been amazing. They've been able to validate what he came up with at that point. Okay, so the beginning, birth to 2 years old, is called sensory motor. These babies, they understand the world through their senses and through actions. If they cry and mommy picks them up or daddy picks them up, they know they're loved. They're not thinking it through, but that comfort, it begins at birth. Then you have pre-operational, 2 to 7. This is a full year's course, but I'm giving it to you in about 3 seconds here. Pre-operational, 2 to 7. They understand the world through language and mental images. It's all make-believe. I'm going to go through this in a minute because some of you are teaching 2 to 7-year-olds. Then there's concrete stage of development. Okay, 7 to 12 years. Okay, 7 to 12 years, that's concrete. I'm going to go through that in a minute. And then there's formal operational, 12 years and up. Actually, that's the only part of Piaget's, when they've done research and followed through, that most people that I know do not go into formal operational at 12. They are the people that say, well, wait a minute, let me see the other side of the issue. And you're all going to think of some adults you know, some relative, somebody, Uncle Joe, who says, no, don't go telling me all those facts. I know what's true. And you're like, well, not really, if you look at the other side of it. But you can't get through. They never make it to formal operational. Now, the children you're working with are going to be pre-operational stage. If you're teaching pre-K, K, first grade, the brain changes, the new neurons start developing between 6 all through to 7. So some of the kids, your little first graders, will still be there, all magic. They're thinking, and let's just read it together. I hope you'll be able to see it. Thinking is based on intuition without reasoning. They can't really reason. They can't grasp cause and effect. They cannot separate fantasy from reality. That's why I actually was talking to Ben about this. Giving grades to children in pre-K and K is illogical. I don't know who came up with it statewide, but it makes absolutely no sense. They have no idea. And the poor parents don't understand this, and they're mad, and they're saying, well, I took away their phone, I took away their TV. No matter what you do, it's like giving a baby steak. They're going to choke if they don't have teeth. They can't chew the steak. Okay, so it's the same exact thing. It's they don't have the neurons. Okay, so if they so anyway, that is one of the, it is so critical to understand. If you're going to play any games or do anything in school and you say, I just told them that he can't do that, but they don't really know what you're talking about. You're playing Candyland with a 5 or 6 year old, and they're going to be saying to you, okay, I go now like 10 times, and then I skip this. Okay, and now you go. Well, you have to go backwards because they can't follow. And when you're teaching this age group, you've got to stop and say, why did this child just do this? And you've got to think it through. Okay, there's a wonderful experiment that Piaget had done, and I literally do it with kids here. You can take a glass. You have 2 glasses. One is tall and one is short and fat, like this. And you put the same amount of water in both. And you say, which one has more water? Now you're putting the same amount. They see it. Every child, if they're still in pre-operational stage, they're going to say, the tall glass has more water. And once they move into concrete stage, the next stage, they go, wait a minute, this is a trick. That's the same amount of water. I had 2 siblings here once. The little girl, the sister was 5, the other sister was 7. And the little one kept saying, no, there's more water in the big glass, the tall one. And the sister kept saying, she used the same water. Don't you see it's a trick? And the little 5-year-old kept saying, no, they just can't do it. So when you're teaching, first, you have to set that environment in your classroom. Second, make sure you know the stage of development the child is in. If they're in concrete, 7 to 12, all of a sudden things change. And they move out of fantasy now into reality. But they want everything black and white. Rules. No, I sat in the front of the class last week, so now the rule is, and no matter what you do, they have to go by the rules. They have to follow the rules. And the unfortunate thing is what I said before. You now move during teenage years into formal operational. And that's where you stop and you go, oh, wait a minute. They changed the rules. So wait a minute. Actually, I can, and the others go, no, that's the way it played. That's why you play it. Oh, my teacher said they're concrete. They can't go beyond. Raise your hand if you know some adults that are very concrete. I mean, here we always laugh. Pick a baseball team. And at Thanksgiving dinner, Uncle Joe says, that team was the best team ever. And everyone at the table goes, not really, because what are you all talking about? And you're done with the conversation. They can't think beyond that. So when you're sitting with your family at different things, start looking at them. Did they make it to formal operational that they actually can sit back and analyze something? Okay. People who go to college, because that's when the actual neurons are in your brain, and they're in an environment where there's thinking, will be able to go further because they usually end up at formal. Not always. Okay, now, step 3. What is step 3? We now have your environment in your classroom, know where your student is according to Piaget, the hierarchy of needs by Abraham Maslow. How many here, because my husband said somebody raised their hand before with Piaget, I didn't see it. 2 people raised their hand, I missed it. I have a little teeny thing I'm looking at you. Okay, how many have heard of Maslow? Abraham Maslow. He was, I do see some hands. Okay, good, I see it. He was up at Harvard, and it was during the 1960s. And he came up with something that is used right through today. It's called hierarchy of needs. And he said, in order for an adult, and you're all probably 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, you go through stages. And by self-actualization, the top stage, people don't really reach it till maybe their 60s. It's like saying, you know what? I'm very comfortable with who I am. I understand who I am. I think I've done the best what I could do here. But it begins with the physiological needs at the very bottom. The baby is born. They need air, water, food, sleep, clothing. Your students, if they come into school hungry, they come into school sleepy, they didn't sleep all night, there's going to be a problem. Okay, it isn't, we're busy with our lesson plans, but if that child physiologically is tired, is hungry, they can't think. Look at that whole child. Then he goes to safety needs, personal security. Do they feel secure? Is there fighting going on in the house? I remember one child said something to me once, and she said, well, I just run in my room when my parents start fighting, and I shut the door and I cover my ears so I don't hear it. That child, they don't have that security, that safety. Make sure in your classroom they feel safe emotionally. They're in your room and they feel safe. These are little children. Love and belonging. And that one I'm going to stop at, because esteem, respect, I talked about respect, all these keep going as you mature and you grow older until self-actualization. The place that a lot of students get lost is the belonging. We talk about love, however we have to define it. But that feeling of belonging, my school song, my class is better than your class, my class, you belong. So many kids don't want to go to school because all they picture is, I've got to sit down, I got to do the work. If I don't do the work, I can't go for recess. And then if I get a big grade, then my parents are going to yell and scream. It's a terrible situation. Why would they ever feel secure? Why would they feel everyone's an adversary? They're not, they're allies. But the kids who feel, I want to go to school because my school this day is doing, everyone has to come dressed in backwards clothes. We have to wear our clothes backwards. Or our school this time is doing this and this. Set things up for your school and your classrooms. So they want to come there. Why would they want to come? I actually did this whole thing one summer with kids who didn't even know each other. They weren't, and they came up from all different schools. They were all dyslexic, so they all had horrible experiences. They couldn't read. But I'm going to show you what I did. I had kids coming in early because they couldn't wait to come in, and they all befriended each other. And they became the best friends because they had something in common. Belonging. I'm going to stay with it. You see here, I highlighted that. I gave you, now we're going to go to what Ben gave to all of you, those humongous books. And then he gave you all a 6-pack of cards. Pick up the 6-pack, whether it's on the floor near you, it's in front of you, the 6-pack you got. And it's going to say on the front of it, on the baggie, it's going to say whether you're teaching 2nd grade, 4th grade. It's going to give you the grade. Someone just give me the okay to start.
They all have, we put them in middle boxes.
Oh, how great. Okay. Oh, that's so nice. I love seeing what schools did, what they do with everything. Okay. I tried this. Try it with your school. If it doesn't work, go to plan B. Call me back and say, let's come up with something else. Or one of you come up with something to give them. I said to Ben, get a song, a school song, something that they know it's theirs. On Monday morning, when kids come in, you're not going to give them the cards yet. As they come into the room, the kids learn to be listeners and have a little thing where you go around, and it's like taking attendance, but take a few minutes on Monday to welcome each one back and say, I heard you had a birthday party this weekend. I heard that you have a brand new baby in your house. I heard something, and make sure keep track of what you say to each one so that you know you don't miss anyone each week, that someone's always left out, just to make them feel, wow, I'm really important. I remember my little granddaughter, when she's 4 years old, she said, oh, do you know next week I'm the vacuumer? I said, the what? She said, I have to vacuum the class. And this week I was the door holder. It was so important to her. You're making them feel so important in that classroom. Okay, so on Monday, welcome each one back with mentioning something special about them. And then set up teams. And they know it's going to be a card party when they come back on Tuesday. When you all come back tomorrow, team one will be sitting at those tables. And before the kids come in, just set up team one, team two, or let them come up with names, however they want to do it. Every week you change the teams, or if they say we all want to stay in the same team, play it, see where your kids are, listen to them if they're starting to get into this. So now when they come in on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, when they actually come into class, they go right to their team and they start playing. And if they get there early enough and they're older, they can start playing cards. The cards you're holding are the ones they're going to be playing with. You have 6 decks, and you can give one team one deck and then make sure each one gets different ones. The decks that you have to do with the grade level of those children. It's called general knowledge. They're not skills. It's not teaching reading or math or writing. It's general knowledge, because teaching is composed of 2 parts, teaching skills and knowledge. So on Friday, when they come in, they bring their parents. If the parents can't make it, they bring grandma, they bring grandpa. They don't need both parents, mom or dad. It can be an aunt, an uncle. So, and I'm going to show you part of the program is letters that you can send to them to invite them in, emails you can send to them, or text, or however you do it. And if a child is alone and no one comes in with them, make them part of someone else's family. Now, you don't set up and you play the cards. You're going to be playing cards. Some schools told me they did one family against another. They did, or be as creative as you can. The child and the parent or the grandparent, whoever it is, they're one person. So you don't have to have more and more cards. They just work together. Okay, now, to implement this, the teachers look, if you're teaching pre-K, kindergarten, or grade 1, you will have the same cards. Those are the ages. Remember, they're going from, most of them are still in pre-operational. They're still in fantasy. They're still learning numbers. They love animals. They love food, to learn about the different foods, colors and shapes, articles of clothing. And every grade level has the one deck, social and emotional words. Obviously, these children can't read. So all these things have all these pictures. So they start learning about the world around them, social awareness. It's all going to be part of the SEL program. It's social awareness. And then when they come in Monday, one team has articles, another team animals. They come in Tuesday, switch the cards. They have different cards, but it's the same team. The following Monday, when you welcome everyone back, switch up your teams. But work together, talk together, meetings, decide how you want to do this. I love, one of the teachers sent me this picture. And she said, I was doing this, and 2 of the little pre-K kids lie down to see how long the cards were, how many cards they could put out, and how tall they were compared to the cards. But the teacher let it happen. They were part of the class. They were having fun. They came to school. They belong. They belong in the room. If you're in second and third grade teachers, it goes into, a lot of them love their animals. Now remember, second and third, you're now into concrete. This is what it is. Okay, they're not into fantasy. Dogs, their pets, cats, they're starting to tell time, learning about money, fun idioms. Okay, kids, those ages, second and third, love idioms. And then your social and emotional words. The games you're going to play, I will talk about soon, but not the second. With every single deck, you can play up to 15 different games. Your little ones stay with memory. There's directions for every single game. I don't know if Ben gave you all a set yet, but if you go to stronglearning.com, free resources, just click on that and it'll go, you click on directions for games. I didn't have you have them today because we have so much to talk about. It's an entire thing just learning how to play the games. But there's Go Fish, there's memory, I think I did a few of them with you last time, okay? And we call them all super decks because each deck is not just a deck of cards. They're not flashcards. Each deck can play up to all these different games. And I think last time we met, we went through playing some of those games. I may come back and work with you again on learning how to play all these games. I have at times during the year, and you'll all know when it is, when it's just free and you just get online and come to one of my classes. Today we're just learning how to play Crazy Eight. So we're learning how to play this. Last time I remember we played bingo and Go Fish when we were all together. Okay, next, if you teach fourth and fifth, your world is now getting bigger. The states and the capitals, world landmarks. Oh, there's a world out there. Okay. Measurement, intro to measurement, inventors and inventions, communication. And the card deck actually begins with smoke signals and goes right to texting. There's all different cards. Okay, I'll ask any questions at the end here. Okay, let's move on. Why use class time to play games? I have had that question for so many people. So many have asked me that because the many direct and indirect benefits are amazing. There's been a lot of research on this. Your whole reading program is based primarily, the center or the card games, even though you're folded right now in that humongous binder. Half of that, which we're not going to talk about today, is part of the reading program. All the different things you can copy and give to everyone. But I'm not going to get into that one today. Reason card games. It's been extensive. Go online looking the research while playing card games. 1, players learn that practice makes perfect. And they keep saying they're really getting better. And as I told you last time, I don't do well with a lot of these games. A lot of them I kind of cheated a little so that they would play because I wanted them to learn to read. But they see the more they play, the better they get, which is something that you can carry into every single part of your life forever. 2, playing well-designed games, not just picking up a game and starting to play games. It just has no place in the classroom unless you have a Friday afternoon and you're just going to sit and rest and everyone's going to play a different game. But the games we have with our super decks, they're purposeful, playful practice. And they're practicing no matter what without realizing it. Okay, 3, children develop patience. When you're playing a game, you have to have patience, and they learn they have to take their turn. And you talk about social and emotional learning. I mean, how to be polite, how to wait, how to listen. Children learn to be good sports. They develop the skill of dealing with disappointment because sometimes they're going to win and sometimes they're going to lose. They become more confident because the rules are the same for every player. Everyone has a chance to win. Children learn empathy. For example, a child will help mommy because I have the parents with me, or dad, grandpa's doing something quirky. They start helping them. They're going to start helping each other. It's going to be an interesting thing. Kids that you never would think would start helping each other. They're playing they start learning how to organize, how to set patterns, how to follow rules. 9, students learn how to strategize. They learn to think, at a higher cognitive level. Finally, playing cards involves interpersonal interaction. It's essential for child development. You can teach as much as we want. We can make sure they're reading, but if they don't grow emotionally and socially, there's a problem. They don't move on to the higher order of going past concrete stage. When you're playing video games, they have their place, but they're not as effective as playing a game with a friend with you because of the interpersonal skills they're learning. Now we're going to go to how do you incorporate your SEL program into your weekly schedule? Now, this is for everyone, and I want everyone just to turn to the table of contents, whether you're teaching kindergarten or fifth grade. Now, there's your table of contents. You all have your books there? You all open to it?
They all have them, yes.
Good, good, good. Let's go to page Roman numeral 3. Everybody go to Roman numeral 3. What is strong learning? That's the name of our company. It's the Strong Learning SEL program. Our company, I don't want to spend too much time because I want to go through lessons. Another time we can go through this. The reason our company is called Strong. It's based on my whole doctoral dissertation. I don't want to go through it right now, but it's telling you that if the children don't develop trust, responsibility, they don't deal with options, their needs aren't met, their goals, they don't learn how to set goals, they can't create that emotional, social, and cognitive healthy mindset. So that we'll do another time. The bottom of the page, it's about the learn method. That we're going to skip right now because that's a totally different thing, but we will get to it. This is all part of the learn method. Page Roman numeral 5. Are you all there? Social and emotional learning, SEL. Okay, it's not an academic subject, but it is critical for cognitive development. Look at the next to the last bullet on the bottom. Development of cognitive abilities necessary for optimal acquisition of knowledge and other academic skills cannot happen in a social and emotional environment that is not emotionally and socially safe. Very difficult for it to happen. Some kids will learn on their own. Some kids will leave school and they'll go home and they have a safe place at home and they'll just be good readers, or they'll want to do it. Or they have tutors, a lot of tutoring going on. They may not have it. You must remember, I talked, the first thing is to create that environment. Okay. Now let's go to the SEL program that you're going to be using. That we're now in page 6, top of the page. Everyone there?
Yes.
Okay, good. What is CASEL? I'm going to literally go through this because this is important. You're going to be following the CASEL program the whole time. It's a multidisciplinary network that began in 1994. It was about the same time I was completing my doctoral work with the same thing. But CASEL had a group of researchers, educators, practitioners, and child advocates across the country meeting. The following descriptions of CASEL competencies were taken directly from definitions. That's what we're going to be doing this. I didn't write these. This is directly from the CASEL organization. And most of I would say, well, every program, a SEL program across the country is following CASEL, hopefully. Okay. Number 1, whether you're teaching kindergarten, you're teaching 5th, self-awareness. The little ones are going to spend most of their lessons on self-awareness for children to start to understand who they are. Okay, to have a sense of, you'll read this all on your own soon, but it's who I am, my thoughts. This is what I think. No, I don't think that. I think this. Self-awareness grows and develops. It begins when they're little. Self-awareness when they're 4, 5, 6. They really don't have total self-awareness, but they're getting more and more. I'm tall. I know you're short. Okay. And you hear kids will walk up and go, why are you so skinny? Why are you so fat? They just say it. Okay. They just come out with these things and they don't know they're being mean. They don't understand, but what they're doing is they're starting to separate from other people to become, and the ones who are working your lessons that you'll see soon with the little ones, I do a lot of animals because they can see there's the cow has to be on a farm, the zebra has to be in the zoo or maybe in a jungle. They start separating. Who are they? Self-awareness. They're adults that never got to this point, and that's why we're trying to do it in school. And we're saying, well, everyone's doing fine. Well, our country isn't, and we have to educate the children. They have to be part of this, and it's certainly we're trying. Self-management. How do you control yourself? I want to play that game now. No, and they grab it. Self-management. You're going to be teaching all your lessons. You'll see soon what's going to be happening. So social awareness. All of a sudden, kids start realizing, and it doesn't happen sometimes till they're 7, 8, they start realizing, oh, you're different than I am. But that's okay. Oh, you eat different foods than I eat. Oh, you came from a different country. It's social awareness, starting to see, oh, there's other people around. We're all together. Okay. Relationship skills. Most of these relationship skills I gave a little bit for the younger grades, but now once you get to 3rd grade, 4th grade, you'll see a lot of the lessons you're going to have to do with relationships, friendships. Finally, responsible decision making. That's your whole life. We are making decisions every single day. And did we make a good decision? Well, I thought it'd be fun to do that. They all jumped off the slide from the top. I didn't know I was going to break my leg. Well, maybe it wasn't such a good decision because you have to think through what you just punched that child. Was that a good choice? Look at the child. He is crying. Look at what is happening. If none of this is brought forth when the child is young, if they don't experience any of this, they may not go into formal operation. They don't see anyone else's point of view. They just see theirs. Okay, now turn to page 7 and 8. Every one of you, depending on your age that you're teaching, your grade level. The one I have on the screen is a sample of kindergarten. But if you're in 4th grade, you're teaching 4th grade, yours should say tips for 4th graders age 9. Make sure, everyone check whatever you're teaching. I know there are 2 teachers for every grade level. Raise your hand if yours is correct, that you're sitting with the right thing, that the 4th grade teacher has. Good. Okay, good. So now here are 40 tips. And what I did, and I didn't see this in a lot of SEL programs after I did this, I really feel the teacher has to know this child, what do I expect from a kindergartner? There are 40 things. I made 40 because there are 40 weeks in the school year. And I wanted you to send them home 1 tip a week to the parents. You'll see the child. You'll see, I'm looking at kindergarten. And it's number 5. Kindergartners can be cooperative, but developmentally, they're still 5 and don't always cooperate with others. It may not happen. You can't reason with them yet. They're 5. Okay. And when someone says, why is that happening? Well, because that's why they call them kids. They're still 10. They're 9. They're not thinking like 40-year-olds. They can't. They don't have the brains. The baby can't eat the steak till they get the teeth. Okay, so now there are 40. I was talking to Ben, and you'll decide. He'll talk to you how you're going to distribute this to the parents. You'll have them, and the parents are going to end up getting them. One of the schools that was using this program last year, the principal called me and she said, I want you to know, we all decided not to send one a week. We may still do it, but parents' night, we gave out the whole 40 tips that night. We had those parents because the parents don't know. How are they? There's no courses on being a parent. Okay, so as teachers, you're in this wonderful position that you can share with them and say, you know what, when the report card comes home in kindergarten and they're not reading, you don't punish them, because most 5-year-olds can't pick up reading yet. What the government is thinking, I have no idea. The brain doesn't really develop enough with enough brain cells to be able to learn to read until 6. Some read, but they memorize. They have good memories, but they're not really decoding. Okay, let's go on to the next one. SEL in a nutshell has 3 parts to the program. There's the humongous book you're holding, which is just half of it is going to be SEL. We're going to go through that soon. That has plays, it has stories, it has scripts, it has worksheets, it has discussions, artwork. And every day you'll see how to use this. The second part are your games, which you could play in the morning, the morning part, and that's going to pull your whole class, that belonging, that feeling of belonging. And you can play that in the morning or anytime during the day. Many of the lessons you're going to see, I say, if time allows, play this in this game, or play this game, or do this. And I throw in even I Spy, sometimes it's without the card games. I throw in charades. I throw in, remember the game Hot and Cold? You're mentioning something and you're getting closer. It's all following directions. Then the third bullet, well, actually it's the fourth one here, parent involvement. I can't stress how critical that is. And I'm old enough, I've been principal, teacher, counselor. They don't show up. I don't care what neighborhood you're in, where they are. You always get a certain group that show up, but you want all of them to come. The parents don't always get involved, and they're busy. They have their babies, they have work, they're busy. What I did in this program is I have the Friday parent card game. So even if grandma shows up, grandpa, anyone, a neighbor that's best friends with them, it makes that child feel so good. Parent involvement, that my mommy and daddy, they came, they were in my classroom, they saw my classroom, they saw all my friends. The parents, I'm going to show you plays for the kids to put on. Invite them to the plays. Put something together to get the parents in there. Food always does it. You'll see some of the things. Okay, next, what we're going to do, we're up to page 10, Roman numeral 10. And what this, I'm not going to go through this because I'm going to show you the next page. This. Page 10 describes page 11 and 12, the Roman numerals. Are you all there? Do you all see it? And make sure it says your grade level. Make sure if you're teaching 3rd, it says for 3rd grade, for 4th grade, for 2nd. Make sure it's there. If it's not, make sure you go to Ben and tell him, I don't have the right grade level here. Now, what this is, every activity, those 40 lessons, you all have 40 lessons that follow. They are under the CASEL category. If you see grade, I'm doing kindergarten as an example here. A lot of self-awareness. And then the topic, emotional safety, the title of the actual lesson. It tells you the page number the lesson is on. Out of the 40 lessons, is it lesson 12? Is it lesson 24? The next is self-management. It follows CASEL. If you're teaching 3rd, 4th, and 5th, you're going to have more under social awareness, relationship skills, and decision-making. than your little ones. A lot of their lessons deal with self-awareness, self-management. Now you can follow this. You can go if you say, you know what, today I want to do one on self-awareness. There was a fight or in my class on something else. I want to do a self-management. You don't have to go in order. If you go in order, I actually put everything in order how I wanted it. I wouldn't recommend, because one school told me the fourth grade teachers were sharing with the third grade, and then they were sharing with us, because I did it according to that age. Many of them are the same lesson, but I give them a different activity to do with that topic because they're a year older. There's a letter. Go to number 13. Send this letter to the parents. You just have to download it and sign your name. We wrote it out to explain to them, I'm going to be with you parents' night. And I'll be on Zoom, and there'll be a little video that we're making, 5-minute video, explaining to the parents what SEL is about and why they may be invited to different things. I will be there, and I'm going to talk to them about the 40 tips. I'll be with you for maybe 5 minutes. Okay, next, here are samples of the SEL lessons. The first one, I did a grade 1 lesson. And this one happens to be, you see on every lesson, do you see up in the left corner, it tells you the grade, the lesson number, whether it's 1 through 40, which one, what it is. This one happens to be a story. And there's the title, I want to go bike riding now. And you see, and I put that in for first grade. What does it deal with? Look at the right corner. Self-management. There's your castle, second category, self-management. How do you manage yourself when you want to go on the bike ride now? And everyone in the family tells you, I'll go with you pretty soon, but right now I'm doing this. No, right now I'm doing this. Okay. By the way, everything I wrote follows Orton Gillingham. So the first graders, second graders are going to be using all the things in the story, are going to be working at a lower reading level. So you see, there's your teacher. When you go to your book, the lesson plan, your teacher guide, that for that page, for that lesson is attached. There's no separate book. It's right there. It's attached. You have it. There's your lesson on the left. Now on your right, that's what the children, you're going to run that off and each child will have. And you'll read it together. And most of the time, like first grade, a lot of them can't read it. That's fine. And you say, that's fine. So let's be really good listeners. And you read, Tommy wanted to go on a bike ride. He asked Tuffy if he would go on a bike ride with them. Tuffy said, I can't go now. I'm going to help Daddy mow the lawn. I can't see what I wrote there, but I'll go with you later when I'm done. But Tommy wanted to go now. So now it talks about how he had to control himself and who he went to. And you read that together. You'll notice there's no illustrations. I have never had a child in all these years ever ask me, why aren't there any pictures? There's one illustration. You're going to see it right here. There's the Tuesday family. Okay. And I'll show you something in a second. I just want to show you on the right, Tommy Tuesday. This is about the bike ride. What would you do if you went on the bike ride? Draw a picture of yourself. For the little older, the 3rd, 4th, 5th, for comprehension questions, they draw pictures. What happened first? What happened second? They helps children. If you want to teach comprehension, that's as simple as that. They draw pictures as they read. So easy. Okay, and that's how they learn. Here's the pictures. If you go to, again, stronglearning.com, click on free resources, you can download the Tiger Tuesday family in full color and give every child a copy or whatever you want. There it is. So the children love to color them in. They color their own. And here you have on the bottom, we have them as paper puppets. And you can cut them out. It's all right there. And you decide whatever you would like. Now we took every single story and we put it in play form. So on the left, this one is a 5th grade lesson. It's a play, lesson 12. Tiger Tuesday in the spelling bee is that he just can't figure out why bird is in B-U-R-D or B-E-R-D, or why he wants to be in a spelling bee, but he can't do the words. He keeps getting everything wrong. When you do the plays, they don't have to memorize. Let them read it. It's fabulous to help them with reading. Fabulous practice. To make sure all kids get different parts, different times. They love highlighters. Let them highlight, know who they are. And now here, these 2 little girls, they didn't want to stand in front of a microphone or read it. They were reading together, and they were doing this using the puppets. Here's another example of a lesson for grade 2, the grade 2 teachers. And this will be lesson 8 when you saw that chart. It was time for recess when, and it tells what happened. And it's relationship skills. It tells you activity type. It's a discussion. It's following directions. Deals with identity. What did I do? How would I do this? And here's the lesson. It's right here. Pretend that you go to play with your friend at recess. Your friend is playing with someone else. Your friend tells you that you can't play with them. You feel angry and you want to scream at your friend. Mark the coping strategies you would use. This is throughout. You'll get these starting in kindergarten. We keep giving coping mechanism, coping and things to do to cope. Here's an example from grade 3, lesson 7, foods from around the world. We look and we come up with all different foods, and the kids make their own bingo game with all these foods. And where did they come from? So what is it dealing with? Social awareness. Okay, decision making. What foods would you use? I combined 2 of them, the activity type, discussion, reading, writing, higher order thinking. It brings the academics into every single lesson. Here's the page now that the child receives. Okay, and right there, if you're in 3rd grade, your 3rd grade teachers, you're looking at it. It's right there. It's lesson 7. Okay, lesson of grade K. Here's one, lesson 3, my family. It seems so silly. It's all about their family, but that's a big deal. They're first learning who's in their family. And there's the lesson, there's the teacher guide right there. And here's one, grade 4, lesson 7, the time I had the most fun. And it's about self-awareness combined with relationship skills and talking about self-worth, why you're important. And you have it right in your class. You set up an interview, set up kids interviewing each other. In the direction, I'll tell you exactly what to do. Here's one, grade 5, lesson 7 in grade 5. Haiku about emotions. How many have done haiku poems? Okay, I don't see any. Kids love them. They love haiku poems, but you can't do them till maybe 3rd, 4th, 5th because it's syllables. And it's usually about nature. But this deals with self-awareness. They start thinking about themselves. This is my poem. I wrote these are my thoughts, and they shared with everyone. Whew. Basically, that's just samples of everything. Any questions?
Yes, there's questions.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Okay, the first question is when is the ideal time, or how long should they be teaching these lessons?
Okay. Each lesson takes about 30 minutes. It could take 15, it could take 30, some could take 45. I mean, I have one, I forget which grade level I put it on. They bring in t-shirts and they make family t-shirts with the family symbol, and they come up with things. Many schools are doing them Friday afternoon. Okay, because it's just something the kids look forward to them. The kids love them. The kids love the activities. I have for 4th, 5th graders, I have debates. You'll see as you go through them. It gets even into the environment by 5th grade. Little ones, it deals with friendship, 3rd, 2nd, because a lot has to do with friendship. Decide when it would fit the best in your class. Some of them told me they do every Wednesday afternoon. This is what they do. The games they can do throughout the day. If you want, when children finish something and they finish early, they could play the games. See how, as teachers, I would love to hear what you end up doing. But they're 30 to 45 minutes, and it's one for every single week. If you have 40 weeks, we now used, probably you started already, so you have 39 weeks left. Okay. Did I answer the question?
Yes.
Okay, good. What's the next question?
Questions?
Every week I made 40 lessons and I put them in order. One week it could be self-awareness, the next week it might be relationships, another week I put them in order. But if you prefer just to do self-awareness every week till you finish those lessons, or because I know a lot of teachers have called me and they said these two children ended up having a fight, and she said, I want to talk about relationships, can I just skip and bring that lesson in now? Yeah, that's fine. Just check it off that you did it. And you have the whole grid there with every single lesson. Just make sure that you already used that lesson.
Thank you.
Anyway, you're welcome. If you have any questions, please just contact me. Because it's a learning process for you. Yeah. I mean, your teachers have never done this. Many of the schools, the teachers aren't doing this. It's the school psychologist comes into the class, or the school social worker comes into the class, or the school counselor. It all depends. But the teacher running it is just wonderful because it's their teacher. It just creates that family unit, that family that you're together, that belonging. Please take one step at a time. Don't get overwhelmed, because it can become overwhelming, but it's not. Once you get into it, and you'll be talking like I'm doing something on social awareness. We just did this for self-awareness. I mean, you'll get into the whole jargon. There's only 5 categories. And if you have any questions, call me. Thank you all. You were wonderful. Thank you.